Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, it is finally time for the top coat. I think some of you were actually pretty interested in finally seeing this video or see what actually could be accomplished by using the Total Boat products here. So I am using Total Boat. It's called Total Boat Top Side Paint. There's actually two different versions of the white, which I was not aware of initially. I bought a gallon of the regular Arctic white, and then inadvertently towards the very end I wanted to do one final coat, and I wound up getting a blue glow white or something along those lines, but it worked out perfectly. Just mixed it up with some of the remainder of the paint that I had in the first gallon, and that final top coat actually came out really nice. So the same thing I did with the primer. I did thin it down with some special brushing thinner from Total Boat, of course. Did the 10% reduction. Came out absolutely perfect. The consistency is a lot like water, if not even better than, with the thinner in there. And you're doing same thing with the primer. You're doing very light coats using the mohair rollers that I had mentioned in the primer video, and just did very thin coats. The Total Boat paint is actually very, I think the way they put it is, it has a lot of solids in it, so it's not like you need to cake it on. And I think if you look at the results here, doing 3 top coats total over the primer and sanding in between with 220 grit to rough it up, and then going through each time with some dewaxer again, just to make sure of any oily fingerprints I may have left on there, so it didn't affect the paint job. It actually came out really well. If somebody told you that you can't paint a car or a boat or a camper with a roller, you can if you follow the directions. So I wanted it. I didn't like it looking just white. I wasn't very appreciative of that color, so I decided I wanted to do some sort of graphics or something to kind of jazz up the sides, just to keep it from looking like a plain white box on the back of my truck. And I wound up getting these vinyl car stickers off of Amazon. Now the vinyl that is used, it's actually a specific vinyl. It's a UV protected vinyl. It's basically for vehicles, and they came out really well. No air bubbles, so I'm pretty proud about that. And actually, yeah, I think it looks good with the paint job and just kind of jazzes it up just a little bit. The next thing I had to do on the outside was I wanted to put some lights on it, some clearance lights. So I went around, just measured, I figured out exactly where I wanted the holes, and then went ahead and pre-drilled 2 holes for the wires to run through to the inside of the camper. And then I'm using this rod here in order to just kind of poke all the way through, make sure I had a nice clean hole, because at this point I'm basically going through 2 1/4, maybe 2 3/4 of an inch into the camper. So I've got the outside 5 millimeters of plywood, the several coats of the fiberglass paint, and then on the inside there's another, on this particular back side of the wall is another piece of 5 millimeter plywood. So I just wanted to make sure I had a good clean hole in order to pass those wires through nice and clean. Like, went ahead and tested each one of the clearance lights, number 1, just to make sure I had the right color, because they are smoked black, and also too, just to make sure they worked before I went through the process of wiring them up and connecting to the outside of the camper. So after testing them, just went ahead and fed the wire straight through, and after that pre-drilled the holes for the screws to attach also. And then I also went ahead and added a little bit of Gorilla Glue construction adhesive to the backside, and that was more to kind of just to seal up those holes for the wires, but also too just to add a little bit of extra holding, kind of over-engineering the crap out of it, so to speak. And they actually came out really good. So yeah, here you can just see me put a little bit of adhesive there on the back, just to help stick it to the wall there and to seal up the wire holes. And then when it was all finished, got it lined up, made sure it was right, drilled out the holes, put the screws in. So yeah, here we are. Got all 4 lights in, 4, excuse me. got all 7 lights installed, 1 on each quarter, 2 reds in the back, 2 ambers up on the front corners, and then 3 ambers across the top there. And then of course 2 lights on the back side of the trailer for turn signal, running, and stop. And I just went ahead and wired up a 4-pin connector on it, and that will run down to my truck, which actually has the dual ports for trailer wiring. So that made it very, very easy. Of course, you're also seeing here, kind of cheated a little bit. You're seeing some windows installed and the door installed. There's going to be another video coming up here soon about that, but I was just really excited to show you what I've done.